Hey, my apologies for the delay. Let's get started. Hey, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well. Let me open it up on YouTube. Make sure the audio is good. Hot cocoa, which is actually a cold cocoa, and some cookies. I don't know why I got hungry. Hope everyone's doing well. Golden Pigeon, my friend, how are you doing? Hope everything is good with you. Hey, Hans Art, hope you're doing well. Same here. Hey, Dalla, how are you doing? Lisa, snow always reminds me of Snowden. You're excited, of course. I don't know, but what does snow have to do with? Do you have snow right now where you are? Because it's definitely not snowing here. It's super hot, actually. I don't know if I can show you. Let me try. Through the window, maybe. It's a bit hard to see. But yeah, it's super hot. We're actually just talking about today how we can't wait for it to get hot again, could they get cold again. So thank you so much for being here. I want to share with you today. So here's what we're going to do. I don't have a big plan or anything like that. I do want to share with you some of the scans and high quality pictures from the latest like huge painting, because I promised I will do that in a stream. Just show you. I don't like my hair. I worked out, took a shower, and now it's all there. We go. That's better. So yeah, I want to share with you some of these. Just give you a general overview of the process. Show you some of the nuances because it's interesting. They don't come off really well in the professional scans. Funny enough. Hey John, how are you doing? Hope everything is well with you. Hey Laura, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Hunter, are there live videos like this often? This is my first time, relatively new subscriber, so thank you. Welcome on board first. And yeah, I do these usually every Thursday. Sometimes I skip them if I have too much work or if I'm lazying out. Let me open the fan. Sometimes, admittedly, I'm tired from the week, so I don't do these. Sometimes they're painting, sometimes there's just chatting. Every time, it's what I feel like doing, basically. Hey, Dazzling Action, hope you're doing well. I'm gonna open up just a photo so that we have it in the background. And I think it's a good opportunity to just talk a bit about painting and watercolor challenges, painting large, doing all sorts of things that are a little more ambitious with watercolor that I think a lot of people are scared of for not really any. It's for good reasons, but the good reasons, so to speak, aren't really realistic. So let me show you first off. I'm going to present this share screen window. There we go. So we have this thing here. And yeah, so you see here, for example, there are lines from the scan. It's kind of a thing that annoys me because I know what the painting looks like. And this, like the entire sky should be a little darker. I don't know why scanners are so bad at catching nuances of blue, especially. I don't know why. I'm gonna eat, by the way, so sorry about this. This is the most informal live stream ever. Hopefully next week, let's see what's going on next week. Maybe I'll do a painting stream. We'll see, because it's been a while. But yeah, so I want to give you a good view of this painting, some of my favorite sections, and then I'll show you some pictures that show it a little better, you know. Thank you, Dala. And tuna fishy fish, I'm eating with you, lol. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I usually don't eat on stream, but I just felt like munching. I really spoiled myself with that cocoa and cookies. Basically, it's homemade cookies. At least they're quite healthy. So yeah, you know, a lot of people see this process, this painting, and they think it's much harder than just painting any old watercolor, you know. And if I compare it to, do I have this one here? I think I filed it away. You know, the black and white pesto scene. This isn't necessarily harder to paint, I think it's more demanding in terms of focus over time. And I get like the fear. I think I have the, let me bring that other photo in with me so you see the dimensions of the painting. Painting project, just to show you. Okay, so it's this one. I think this will be the, there we go. Just gonna put it in the right folder. Let's see if it'll update of its own accord. Okay, it doesn't, so let me redo this. Just to show you the dimensions of the painting a little better. Let's see here. I'm in a really chill mood today, so sorry if I'm a little lower energy. It's been a long, tiring week. By the way, there's something funny about this photo, so you'll get the scoop if you're watching this stream. Did you notice how the quality of the painting in this picture is really, really good? Could you tell how it looks just so, the light looks really good. And when you look at the photo, you know, it's very hard to get such a sharp photo. So you can throw guesses in the chat how it looks so good. I'll tell you in a second. It's really funny. No one notices it. It doesn't matter, but it just makes it look so much better. Della, I'm still working on blending. You mastered blending here. Yeah, thank you. And you know what's funny? Yes, some washes here that are large, just physically large, do demand a bit of understanding of how to blend and smoothen out shapes, like these large washes that, again, look so much better in the pictures. I'll show you in a second. But for the most part, the technique, so to speak, to paint such a thing actually wasn't that that difficult. So it's just pretty much the same, but what you'll end up doing is painting with multiple goes over it. You'll paint a thin layer because you have to, because it's a big area that you're filling in maybe. And you'll do it very thin, and then you'll do another wash and another wash and another wash. So I think it's more about the patience and the, what's the word for it? Perseverance, maybe, of just keeping at it until it looks good. I remember, for example, this specific spot that ended up being one of my favorites, and let me show it to you in the larger, better quality one. This specific spot turned out to be a favorite of mine because of the strong contrast, how it feels like there are these pieces of little ice and all of that. That took, I don't know, like 4 or 5 washes, right? And I remember it looking very light and not looking really good. And by the way, I'm going to make a video on this whole process. You'll see some of it. You'll see more details and info on it. I've been talking about it a lot in the streams. You'll see like a proper vlog plus a bit of a process video from this one. But just generally speaking, I remember the moment where the contrast was good enough. It was what I was looking for. And all of these rocks popped out, and all of these details suddenly made sense. And the white here on the snow is another part I really, really like. That layer of snow, it has thickness to it. I like that a lot. I remember the moment it started making sense, okay? And it took it like 3 or 4 washes, right? So it's not necessarily about the technique. It's more about that perseverance until you see the impression you're after. Now, if you look at this shape, I think it's about this size, maybe. It's actually the size of like just this one bit, maybe even a bit larger, maybe something like this, okay? Yeah, I think something like that. So that would be like an A4 piece of paper. That's an entire painting, right? If you paint smaller. So it really was about choosing an area, focusing on that, adding and adding and adding more details until it looked just right. Same here for this little, you know, smooth transition from the light of the snow onto the light side of the snow onto the bluer part reflecting the sky, essentially. So yeah, the bottom line is it's not necessarily harder. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand. Dala, I like it because you can tell you were observational, faithful to the original, yet it looks like your own representation of the subject with personal style. Yeah, and some people commented, Dala, that it looks different from my usual style, funny enough. And maybe it's because it is such a big piece. It forces you sometimes to work a little differently. But yeah, thank you. I'm happy that you can see that this does have that, I suppose, original style, even though it's quite loyal to the reference photo. You can actually see a lot of it here in the details in the trees. I went wild, really enjoyed this bit. Used a lot of opaque paint, wet and wet. That was great fun. And you see this cabin here hidden behind it. Yeah, I did a lot of things I usually do with my paintings. Here, all of these are scanning artifacts. This isn't in the painting, in the actual painting, which is a little annoying, but that's fine. That's fine. I have pictures of it. This is why I have pictures of it. But yeah, I did a lot of things. I had quite a lot of freedom in some spots. Like if you look at this spot here, I did this foliage with lots of just, fun lines, really rough, somewhat dry paint, and it worked out really, really well. These lines, these cast shadows weren't there. I'm so proud of myself for coming up with this. I was like, yeah, if the light comes from there, it would make sense. If this is in the shadow, maybe this should cast the shadow, and it just ended up working really well. So I did also get a bit lucky, but it was thanks to my my own observation, I guess. So yeah, that was great fun. Yeah, it's a huge painting. Very light washes, lots of them. The water again was done in many, many washes. Raymond, hi, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. Fuse blower, hey, how are you? Is it just two colors? Looks like cobalt blue and something like a pearl and maroon to me. So yeah, this was quite dominated by, I would say, two blues. I did a mix of French ultramarine and something like, not a phthalo. Phthalo didn't work here at all. It was more of a cobalt blue or cerulean blue. Cerulean blue could be, actually. I don't remember the exact tube. Let me see if I can guess. I think it was one of these tubes. I think it was the Rosa Gallery Cobalt Turquoise, together with some, I know it's hard to see, but yeah. Let me do this. So I think I did use this one, together with French ultramarine to neutralize it a bit, or to warm it up a bit. For example, this is more ultramarine heavy, whereas this is more of the turquoise, okay? And then for the warms, yes, I've used a bunch of colors, actually. I used this one a lot, which, let me see what it is. Thank you to Marjorie for sending me this palette. I don't even know if that's the right cover. Yeah, I think it is. It was some kind of a Van Dyke brown or something like that. Yeah, you could treat it almost as burnt umber for practical purposes. And yeah, I used that for the warms. And if I wanted to get a neutral, I had neutral tint. I used a lot, or it wasn't neutral tint, actually. It was this one, also by Rosa Gallery. I think it was neutral black called. It's this paint right here. So I used that one quite heavily too. Let me show you this one. Used it quite heavily as well. People have commented in the comments that how many tubes did I have to go through to finish this painting. Actually, I haven't finished even one tube. I haven't ran out of, so to speak, but I did have new tubes, so that helped. But yeah, so yeah, it was, and yeah, cobalt blue. You could call it cobalt blue. It's quite similar. And perylene maroon. What is that? What is that thing flying here? Dust. Okay. And yeah, perylene maroon, burnt umber, whatever. Even sepia could work if it's not a really lame sepia. And also, what's it called? Burnt sienna could work too. The magic is in, and a lot of people get started with painting and they use the paint straight out of the tube. A lot of the magic comes from the nuances you get when you mix the two. When you mix the blue and the orange, you get the in-betweens, right? So a lot of this, for example, foliage, that's neutral black with some of that burnt umber color, right? And look at how well they communicate all of these nuances. Even here, this is quite a neutralized version of that color. right? So I think it did help me. I was quite minimal in terms of the colors I used, for sure. So yeah. And there are some Swiss flags hidden there, if you can count how many there are. Dala, how much paint did it take you? I only do smaller works now. Yeah, so not a lot. I think, so this tube, the black color is now, I don't know, I guess like a third empty maybe. This one, also a third. So not much. I don't know, you could, with watercolor, it runs out slow, I find. The one thing that really helped here was how much light and white there is. So because of all this white, this is areas that basically don't need much paint. That helps a lot. Now let me show you a picture, okay? This is a picture version of the painting. So you're gonna see, it's gonna be much more nuanced, I think. In fact, if I update it on Photoshop, let me just bring out some of the colors here for a second. I haven't edited those at all, so it's a little low vibrancy and basically values. It's all a little too dark, I think. Exposure, I think it's underexposed. Let's see. So I'm just gonna make it a little brighter, a little more visible. I'll show you in a second. And I think I can crop out the top here and bottom. So just so you'll see that it's funny how scans, while they're better, generally speaking, than photos, they can't compete with some of the nuances because they tend to flatten things out, pour too much light on them. It's really interesting how that happens. So a mix of the two would be best. Let me share it with you. So you see here, in these two photos, you get to see a lot more of the nuances, especially here on the mountains. Even here, like, look at this, right? This area, yeah, the quality isn't as good as the scan, but look at it compared to the scan when it comes to showing the color, right? The scan just makes everything more gray. If we go back to the photo, you see, it's much more colorful. So I had to do some color correction. It wasn't easy, actually. So yeah. Laura, amazing work, Liron, motivated me to try a half-sheet painting. I usually paint A3. A3 is nothing to sneeze at. That's a really good size, by the way. A lot of people are even painting all exclusively under A4. But lately, I've been working with A4 to get paintings ready for this silent auction. Remind me, what's a silent auction? I don't remember if we talked about it. But yeah, one thing is, I will definitely say, when I paint a larger A2, it makes a big difference. A2 allows you to cram in a lot more details. It makes everything a lot more impressive looking. That's something I've noticed. My A4s almost don't satisfy me anymore unless it's a very realistic small scale thing. Usually I'll have to go at least A3, but I find that when I go A2, the result is usually it has a different quality to it. I can't explain it. I discovered it while I started auctioning my paintings. By the way, there's an auction on Saturday. I'll share it with you later if you want to see it. And thank you so much, Laura. Dala, the rocky brown area and the spot of the blue snow right below the bushy area you pointed makes the painting really alive. Yes, that was a really important part for me. Yes, and very often it's just, the whole painting needs to work, but then it's one or two spots that really bring it to life, These areas were really fun to paint as well. Lots of just brown and black done really fast, one over the other, very much letting them blend together to make it look like a fuzzy dead grass or some kind of a dead plant texture under the snow. That was actually quite important for me. You can see it better here. So yeah, for sure. Golden Pigeon, hello again. Your past paintings you shared were beautiful. Thank you. No words to describe. Thank you so much. Kate, hey, how are you? Hey, Liron, hope you're doing well. May we check out your summer paintings? Yeah, sure, we can. I just now realized that Lisa was talking about this snowy scene because I haven't shared it yet, so now I see. Yeah, definitely. I'll share a summer scene with you. Let's see if I have something interesting here. I actually have a scene I want to paint, but I haven't yet gotten the chance to. Well, this isn't really a summer scene per se, but this is something I want to paint. Let me show you. So this could very well be a painting, I guess you'll see soon if I do end up painting it. So it's definitely more of a summertime, you know. It's a very interesting building. It's the old customs building, I think, in Tel Aviv. I really wanted to paint that at some point. We'll see. But that has more of the, you know, spilling sunlight, which I like a lot. You know, I'm a big fan of that. Snowy scenes are the exception for me to some extent, right? This actually gave me an opportunity to work on something very different from my usual stuff. Super grateful also to the client for allowing me to just work my own impression and didn't limit me in any way. I really like these little splashes of water too. Let me show you in the picture. Even though it's not as sharp, the quality is quite good when it comes to the colors and the balance, I think. Dala, painting snow in watercolor is way harder than in oil. You think? I actually think it's the other way around. I don't know. Well, I can't compare it to oils, which, by the way, I received oils in the mail. I purchased some oils. You may see an oil painting soon, maybe. So yeah, I can't really say from experience, but what I can say is that painting snow in watercolor isn't really as difficult for me as I thought it would maybe a couple of years ago, you know? If anything, you learn to work with the empty areas and it makes it more interesting, to me at least, you know? Nancy, chilly morning, temps, but sun. Okay, so it's cold, but the sun is out. I actually like these kinds of mornings. Here it's just super hot and humid and the sun is out burning you. Good morning, Marjorie. Hope you're doing well. Do men paint flowers a lot? Seems like historically gravitate more towards flowers. I do anyway. I'm asking because I want to know if you ever painted flowers. Yes, I have. I have a few florals. I found them quite challenging, and it is something I want to work on. I feel like I don't care much about painting flowers necessarily, just like I don't care about animals, for example. I care about animals. I just don't enjoy painting them as much. But there is something to a subject matter that you're struggling with that sheds light on a weakness you have. So, for example, in portraits, I have a weakness of recognizing colors on the go with lots of nuances and maintaining a smooth wash showing them. With cars, for example, even if there are a lot of colors, I'm much better at nailing them because there's a lot of separate shapes. But a portrait has fewer separate shapes, so that's very hard for me. Now, florals pose different challenges. There's a lot of nuance and gentleness with edges, something that I've been having a hard time with, honestly. So yeah, I have a few florals. If you even search on the channel, you'll find, I think I have a playlist of florals in watercolor. It's not the thing I'm really that proficient at. I did do, funny enough, it's not a floral, more like foliage in my latest painting pesto. Making pesto in 2024, the black and white painting. There is a bunch of leaves there. It's not a floral, but that I nailed really well, more than my usual. So yeah. Laura, anything smaller than A3 is hard for me because of the disability with my hand sound. Auctions for a fundraiser at my grandson's school. Okay, that's beautiful. I like that a lot. I see. Okay, good. For a good cause, that's great. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, the larger you paint, it depends on the nature of the disability. But yes, the larger you paint, the more almost margin of error you have, the more the movement that you can use is different. I can totally see how a different disability would actually require a smaller piece of paper, but yeah. So I get it. I would go even larger. If you find it even easier than A3, for sure I'd give A2 a try. If not, that's fine, but yeah. Wouldn't gravitate more to, yeah. You know, I'm not sure. I find that I don't really gravitate towards, generally speaking, popular subject matter. You know, I end up painting so many cars and random things that a lot of people would consider boring. I do like still life, so if there are flowers there, I'll include them. But yeah, I think my subject matter choice to begin with is quite strange. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, if you look just at the evidence, it looks like more women are into florals. If you just look on Instagram, I would love to paint better florals. I think they're really fun. I think if you really get how to paint them, it means you're growing a lot as an artist because of the nuance of edges. You know, it forces you to see all the gentle changes in value and in edges mostly. I would say colors are a little clearer sometimes when you paint florals. Thank you so much, Nancy. Is the final painting mounted on anything? Are you going to have to frame it? No, I've shipped it already to the client. They will frame it. It's not a big deal if you have a good professional that knows what they're doing. But yes, framing such a piece isn't like the everyday kind of work. Maybe when it's a large oil or acrylic, it's a bit more common. But large watercolors like this aren't as common. But I do know it will be framed. What often happens with watercolors, and that there's different schools of thought when it comes to framing them. Sometimes they'll just be framed on glass. there will be a strong cardboard at the back, and then the glass, and the pressure is enough to keep it flat and nice looking. Sometimes, for some pieces, the framing shop, they will prefer, depends on the craft person, they will prefer to tape it down to something like a kappa board. There are a lot of people who are against it. They say you don't want the painting stuck to anything. You always want the ability to, in the future, open up the frame, remove the painting separately, and just lift the mat up, remove the painting. But some framers do tape on a board. Now, the tape they use or the glue, whatever it is acid-free, yada, yada, all of that. It shouldn't hurt the painting, and it doesn't. For the most part, if you're going with a good professional. But yeah, I think for this painting, even though it's that huge, you could get away with just a frame and a glass and a cardboard. You don't have to tape it, I think. What these paintings do demand is, of course, I shipped it rolled. So you have to unroll it the other way very gently and very widely to flatten it a bit. The curvature is worse at the edges. So it's going very curved and then slightly curved. So there's a bit of work to be done, but it's nothing too tough. But I'm happy that I don't have to frame it, because then shipping it would be almost impossible. Sorry about that. Shipping such a thing framed, I don't know how you would do it. You'd have to put it in a huge box and just ship it with, like, I don't even know if FedEx or something like that would work. So yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be hung up. There's a room it's meant to be in. It was painted to size, so yeah. Golden Pigeon. Now I'm also trying new things like acrylics. Cool. I played around with acrylics. I have one here. I haven't shown it much, but this was done. This I painted in acrylics. It feels unfinished because it is, because I just didn't know what to do. But I may end up revisiting it one day. And of course, it's a car, right? Let's everyone make fun of me because it's a car again. Kate, don't want to think about autumn and winter, but your painting is definitely fabulous. All of them are unique, and water is great on this one. Thank you. Yeah, the water is, I love the water. As soon as I edited it, it made all the rocks pop. And the water, in the reference photo, I think some spots were darker, but I found that it looks better like this, actually. I did multiple glazes, and this was the perfect moment to stop. As for autumn, I have to be honest, I don't like painting autumn scenes. I don't know why. Something about I don't have anything against the scene, I'm just not good at it. Something about the oranges and all the leaves, and it's just a lot of simplification. Historically speaking, I had a hard time with these kinds of scenes. Now, it doesn't mean I can't, but it's not as easy for me as summer scenes or winter scenes, actually. Wait, autumn is not, yeah, it's fall. It's the same. I got confused for a second there. Oil paintings, I'm really excited for it. Yes, yeah, I don't have them handy, but it's by, you know this channel, Draw Mix Paint, with Mark Carter, his name is. He has his own line of oil paints, Geneva, I think it's called. Geneva Art Supplies is the company. So yeah, I got a couple of tubes from him, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I purchased them. I didn't get them as a gift or anything. Dalla, painting flowers is so much fun. They're so expressive on their own. Yeah, and I think that's a part of it, by the way. That's a good observation. The prettier the thing you're trying to paint, the more you'll have to almost compete with reality. And that's what I find challenging, you know? And sometimes these cars that I see outside, they're just so normal every day, but the way the light shines on them, to me, makes them a perfect subject matter. But I don't feel like I'm competing with something that is already inherently pretty, you know? Same with people in portraits, you know? It's very hard to compete with nature in that regard. Very difficult. And so it's okay not to compete, and you can change things around and, you know, work differently. Right edges of flowers require much sensibility in handling the brush and paint. Exactly. Yeah. The everyday is a relevant topic means you find beauty in the common. Nothing is quite common to true artists. Yeah. You know, if you can see it as a painting, that's enough. That's good enough. No worries. I didn't even recognize most of the typos, I think. Nancy, did you say how many hours you put into that painting? Yeah, it's a good question. Now that I think about it, I would say, so I worked on it for about 2 months, on and off, meaning one day I would work on it, the next I wouldn't. Then the day after I would, then maybe 2 days in a row I would work on it very frantically, then a couple of days of rest and needing to see it with a bit of perspective. So let me do a quick calculation. I think I spent at least 3 days out of every week working on it. And in each of these 3 days, it's going to be very rough math, very inaccurate, but that's fine. In every one of these 3 days, it was at least, I would say 4 hours or so of work. So 3 times 4, that's 12. And we're talking about 8 weeks. That's about 96 hours. I don't know how accurate that is. I think it would be quite accurate. It could be anything from, I would say 70 to 90 hours. I don't know if I'm overestimating, underestimating, 70 to 100 hours, I guess. Would that make sense? I don't know. I think it would. I think so, yeah. Unless there were weeks, maybe there was a week or two that within all of that I didn't get at all because we were, 1 week we're on vacation. So you could remove perhaps, yeah, I would say 70 hours is a good bet. I would say 70 hours is a good bet. Maybe. It's so hard to tell, you know. If I don't film it, it's really hard to tell. What I can say is the Making Pesto in 2024 black and white painting I just posted recently on Instagram. On that, I worked 5 hours. So you can compare the two. That's crazy. Golden Pigeon, the government should give you the title, the Master of Light and Shade and the Master of Colors. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I have a long way to go. I think there are people that are more primed for that title as of now. I don't know, maybe in the future. O Prime 15. Can you discuss when paintings are finished and when you stop doing a touch-up? Yeah. So the size of the painting will affect that. But I think at the end of the day, it's a matter of taste. So there are two sides of the spectrum. One when a painting feels overworked and over detailed, and one when it feels empty. Now, I don't like both of them, but both of them are very subjective perception things. So I try to adhere to me not feeling like the painting it's neither empty nor too crowded. So if I feel like it's still empty, I'll add more details, and then I'll take a look and see, does it still feel empty, and I'll add more details. Does it feel empty? I'll add more details until at some point it doesn't feel empty anymore, and that's usually where I'll stop. And then usually if it's a prominent piece, I'll take a few days I'll work on other stuff. I don't rest in these days. I'll work on a ton of other stuff, and then I'll revisit the painting and look at it and figure out, okay, nothing is really jumping at me, telling me I missed it. So that's fine. Now, when it's this size of a painting, a lot of it has to do with working section by section. So I would really examine it. So if I care about this section right now, I'll look at that and I'll figure out, okay, is this dark enough? Is it light where it should be? Do these rocks look fine? Do the water here look fine? I'll just scan it, square by square by square. First, I don't go left to right, top to bottom, nothing like that. I'm not a robot. I look at areas of interest. I figure it out that way. So I really like this area. Let's see if it works as a hub. Everything around it looks good. Am I missing some details? Do these need to be more steps in the snow or whatever? That's good. Then I look at these shapes. Okay, that's good. Then I look at all of the rocks here. That's good. That's how I usually do it. Then I look at this specific pattern. Okay, that's good. And it all accumulates and adds up into a final image. And then it's the matter of touch-ups, right? Does it feel empty from afar? Does this area feel empty? Did I miss any important details? At the end of the day, it really is a question of what you want to include and what you don't want to include. If there are things you still want to include, the painting isn't finished. But if you're looking at it, and if you look at this rock, for example, and you're like, okay, I got it's funny, by the way, how you can see the pencil even stronger in the scan. It's a little less visible in real life. You look at it and you think to yourself, okay, I got the shadows in here. I got all this big shadow to the right. I got this smooth transition from a mid value to a lighter value, mid value to lighter value. Nothing really stands out or sticks out or makes me think something is incomplete, then I'm done. I'm not going to forcefully look for more things to add and more nuances to if it looks good, it looks good. That's it. It's a very subjective thing. It's a matter of feeling. Some people have a taste for much emptier paintings, and it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It will still look really good. And I think if you as the artist can see it in your mind's eye, the viewer will kind of adjust their own expectations, adjust their own opinions, adjust everything to match your vision. And it's almost like, think about it this way. If you were to watch a movie, right? The movie starts and you see people talking. It's just people filmed, whatever. It could be anything with real people. And then maybe you go to a different movie. Maybe it's a kid's movie. Maybe it's a 3D animation kind of a thing. Everyone looks different because it's animated, right? But you never for a second doubt it. You don't think to yourself, oh, this person looks weird because their nose is just a button, right? The reason you don't doubt it is because the concept artists, the people who worked on the movie, they had their vision and everything works well together. So nothing stands out. It all looks like it should look. And I think you as the artist and whatever your vision is, you're leading the viewer. Wherever you go, they will go with you. Now, if some parts are completely out of balance, for example, there's both real people and three-dimensional 3D animation people, unless that was meant to be it will look weird, right? Again, unless it was meant to be, because some movies combine the two, of course. But it all works following the artist's vision, and people buy into your vision. And if your vision and taste is more of an empty scene, people will still interpret it the way you want to. They follow your own vision. That's why you can look at just about any painting and see something. What you're not seeing, even paintings that aren't as realistic, right? You're not seeing a collection of random shapes. You're seeing rocks, you're seeing hills, you're seeing cabins, even though it's just paint on paper. I hope that's a good answer. It's a good question, by the way. It's a really good question. It's been a while since I was asked that. Fuse blower, a couple of tubes is all Geneva Paints has. I believe there are only 5 colors in total. Yeah, I got that set. I think it was just there aren't any other paints. Yes, I got the. I really like the way he built it. So it's white if you want to make it lighter and cooler. It's yellow if you want to make it lighter and warmer. It's the burnt umber thing. Then he has this, what's the name of the red? Carmine, I think. Carmine red or Carmine scarlet, something like that. I love his approach to that. And you can mix just about anything other than really bright colors. So yeah. Really looking forward to testing them out. I heard good things. Nancy, did your client say what type of frame they chose? Oh, no, not really. I don't think they know yet. So they should have it by next week, sometime next week. And then it'll take time to get it to a framer and to it's a big piece. It will be handled slowly. But yeah, when I have the pictures, when I see it, when it's up on the wall, I'm really looking forward to seeing it and sharing it with you. So you can be sure that I will. So yeah, I'm really curious to see it. Dala, it's a good thing that you feel you gotta compete with nature when painting something beautiful. It means you have an observation of reverence. Yeah, that you don't got to compete. Yes, yes. Yeah, definitely. What I'm doing is very different. I'm trying to express whatever I'm seeing. Golden Pigeon, what are your opinions on abstract art? Yeah, I think we talked a bit about this before. It's an art form in its own right. I watched something interesting. Someone was criticizing abstract art, and they were posed as the expert to abstract art. Now I look at this person's painting and I'm like, it looks good. I don't know what the complaints are. If you're dealing with abstract art and people just go and paint a bunch of random lines that look good, how can you as an expert to abstract art say you don't know nothing about it? You really need to work on your whatever skills. It's such BS. So yeah, I like abstract art. Sometimes it's very pleasing to the eye. Sometimes it's very cliche tackily, trying to lead to some kind of an emotion. I don't like that as much. That feels a little cheap. But yeah, I have nothing against abstract art if it looks good to me visually. Some of them I dislike, just like representational art that I may dislike some of it. So yeah, it's a completely different skill set or approach or whatever. So it's very hard for me to comment more than that, But yeah, I do enjoy some abstract art. Now, when we were in MoMA in New York, we saw so much abstract art. I started by liking it, and then the more I saw it, the more I was like, okay, enough of that. I saw too much art in general, like enough paintings. So yeah, I remember that vividly because there was a lot of modern abstract art there. Based on this painting, I think you could do a monumental architectural landscape next. Yeah, maybe. I'm open to all options. We'll see what the next big piece will be. I kind of want to break free from the 1 meter high. My Ponte Vecchio painting, a large bridge painting, that was 70 centimeters, I think. Now it's 100 centimeters here, top to bottom. I would like to do more if I can. This is 2.5 meters. That's good. That's progress, but I would like to do more on the height side. And I don't know how, because I got this roll it's 120. So I'll have to tape 2 pieces of paper together. I'm not sure, actually. I'll have to figure it out, because I do want to paint something even bigger than this, you know, not just very elongated paintings. I would like to paint something like a 2x3, you know. I can't even achieve 2 right now. All I can achieve is 120. I can't achieve 200 yet. So I'll have to figure it out. I don't know how people paint, and there are very few of them, but I'm not sure how the world record of large watercolors were made, like where that paper came from. I have no idea. Can you find like a roll that's double in height? I'm not sure. Would be curious to see where that comes from. And if any of the paper brands want to collaborate with me and make a special piece of paper for me, I would not say no. So you can feel free to reach out. Kate, by the way, I love the mountains here as well. It's realistic for me, and I can only dream of that feeling of volume. That's cool. Yeah, I love, you know, the mountains. They really pleasantly surprise me. I really dislike the way the scan looks. Let me go back to this. Yeah, much more organic. Yeah, I love these trails and roads and little shadows cast by snowy trees. This was a really fun area to paint, for sure. Yeah, watercolor requires the right amount of white of paper to really shine. Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes there's no white. Even here, you think the snow is white, but like, so this is white, but this isn't, right? This isn't white, this isn't white, all of this isn't white, all of this isn't white for that matter, this and this. None of it is white, really. So I would say very often the thing that appears to be white on paper isn't really. White just picks up the surrounding. So I would definitely pay close attention to that. It's a good means to, because the fewer white you actually have, the more impactful it can be. Not like you forcing there to be fewer white areas, but if they aren't there, the scene is darker. Even if it's like anything that is not direct sunlight shouldn't be white, really. And I say shouldn't in the loosest sense, right? You can do whatever you want. Marcia, being such a large painting, can you please show your actual workspace and setup, vertical, slope, or flat? Yeah, that's a good question. So I basically painted this one on our in our living room. We have this table, this dining table. It fits 6 people, and that's what I painted it on. My setup here isn't really meant for these large paintings. You see, it's a relatively small desk. I can paint up to A2 easily, but nothing more than that. I did have in the past better setups for that kind of thing. I talked about it, I think, on the previous live stream. I had in 2 apartments ago, I had a huge desk, a long, super long desk where I painted Ponte Vecchio. Now, one thing you can do is, for example, there's a closet here. You can open the door of the closet, or use just what do you call these? I never know what you call these, so let me check real quick. Let me see. Clothespins. Okay, so you could use clothespins and just connect the piece of paper to the closet's door or something like that. Then you have a strong angle so that you can use it to paint large washes. If you have a large overarching wash that is sideways, for example, you can rotate the whole piece of paper, have it hang up from top to bottom, and just paint that way. I've done that before as well. The only thing you have to be really careful of, if you're using very watery washes, it's going to flow down like crazy. So you have to be aware of that, because that could be dangerous. Photographs often are too rather 2D or flat. It's up to us to make it interesting with our uniqueness. Yeah, and some photos sometimes are perfect for painting. That happens too. Sometimes I'll look at something and I'm like, that's perfect. I'm going to paint it exactly the same way. That's how I painted the pesto painting. Honestly, I didn't change a thing. It was just, it came perfect right out of the box, you know? I don't find value in total abstraction or minimalism. I do semi-abstract. Yeah, semi-abstract I like to. I think it's something I really enjoy. The more you can abstract it while maintaining some sense of realism, I love it. I love that kind of a result. Deconstruct in art history lead to the death of art. I don't agree with art history's concept of modern and postmodern art. Art never died. Yeah, I mean, it's all art. Question is if you like it or not. And if you're not, that's fine, you know. Hey, Roger. Thank you for being here. Marjorie, it's wonderful painting. All of the hours put into it show. As beautiful as Monet. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I posed the question, how this looks so slick. So I actually combined the two. I actually combined the scan with the photo. That's the surprise here. I placed the scan over the photo, and I played around with it to make it match the paper's location perfectly. You'd be surprised at how warped the paper can get. And now you get the feeling of a photo, but it's actually a scan. That's the trick. I added some shadows too, by the way. I kind of thought it would be interesting to share that a little bit. Hey, Jacqueline, hope you're doing well. Good morning to you too. Kate, my final questions. Are there any dream works you'd like to create? Do you paint for money or just if you want to? Are there any dream works you'd like to create? Nothing specific. I do really want to create at some point a proper comic book. I did one, a short story. I'm just not really good at, and it's not really painting, but yeah, it's more like drawing. I'm not that strong when it comes to writing a story. I feel like if I had a really good story written and then all I have to do is paint it, it would be much easier for me. I don't know why. I'm not wired that way, I guess. It doesn't come naturally to me at all. I find it hard to come up with premises for stories. I find it hard to come up with ideas for characters and how they would interact with one another. It's just not something that comes naturally to me. And that would be some kind of a dream work I would like. I would like to have it. Maybe even I've been thinking about doing a comic book for young adults, I would say, and have it actually printed, sold in stores. That would be wonderful. Now, if it comes to when it comes to painting, not really. I think I'm. The thing is always to top where I was. So I want to make more and more ambitious paintings in the result I want to get. But it's not really about a specific painting I have in mind. Not at all. And I find that I can't force these things at all. It's actually a good question. I almost have to wait for an idea to fall on me. Painting pesto was like that. This painting was like that. This was quite fortunate to receive a wonderful, basically a wonderful client that gave me a lot of freedom, and I could choose what I want to paint. And I completely chose that out of a variety of different scenes. So yeah, I think it's more about what more can I do to push the envelope more about what watercolor is and what I can achieve with it. And wherever that takes me is quite random, you know? So yeah. Now, as for the other question, do you paint for money or just if you want to? I paint all the time, whether it's for money or not. I feel very fortunate because sometimes it is for money. Very often I'll have to paint for a long time before I sell a painting. That's just how it works for me. Some artists are more prominent and have a lot of collectors collect their work, aren't there? I'm not there yet. I have a few very loyal customers, usually repeat customers that buy from me. But it's not like I have tens of them. So I would just paint, focus on making the best painting I can. And I find that when I really do manage to nail it, someone comes out of the woodwork to buy it. It really just happens, you know. It's very, now I will say it's very difficult for me to paint just for money. Well, let's look at the most extreme example, right? Let's say someone offered me a really nice sum of money to paint something I absolutely hate, and I know I'll suffer all the way through it. If the pay is good enough, I would take it. I would take it. I'm not at a point where I can just, you know, lounge and just do whatever work I want, right? But if the pay is not worth it, even if it could be considered like a decent sum, if I know it's gonna mean that for the next 3 months I'm gonna work on something that I absolutely hate, I will be very hesitant to take it. And generally speaking, it's very difficult for me to paint something I don't like. So for example, if someone really wants to buy a painting, but I don't have anything that they want, so they're like, even if it's friends or family, and they're like, do you have this kind of a painting? They want something that I don't usually paint, I probably will not go out of my way to paint for them. It's very difficult. It's because I know if I won't have fun, if I won't like it, it's gonna be just excruciating, you know. So at the end of the day, I paint the thing that I enjoy the most, and then if I do a good enough job at it, someone purchases it. Most of my paintings will not be purchased, of course, because for every painting I sell, there's hundreds, maybe not hundreds, I exaggerate, at least dozens, multiple dozens. Could be in the 3 digits too. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Probably I'm exaggerating. Dozens at least, though. So yeah, it's a mix. But if the pay is good enough, yeah, I'll probably take just about any painting watercolor related job, right? It really is a matter of how much it pays at the end of the day. But it's very hard for me to just paint something I don't like. There has to be a serious monetary value to offset it. Let's put it that way. So yeah, it's a good question. Marjorie feels like we can walk into it. Yes, thank you so much. And you are there in the painting. Yeah, that to me is a good sign that the painting works, you know. O Prime, what resources do you use for reference photos? Follow up, do you use any artists' tools online for photo manipulation? Yeah, so I take my own photos. At least I try for major paintings I want to sell. I do sell. I used to do it more often, now not so much, but still once in a while a painting based on a photo that I didn't take, but it has to be a photo that's completely copyright free, royalty free. You can use it for commercial use, etc., etc. So I would say the resource I use for reference photos is my wits and my ability to recognize something interesting when I'm out and about, honestly. I see something I like, I take a picture of it. Things that are around your neighborhood, you have a personal connection to them, around the house, tend to end up as better paintings. As for artists' tools for photo manipulation, sometimes I'll use them to better see some things. If I'm not seeing things clearly, it could help. I definitely turn photos black and white often. The painting making pesto that I did was originally a colorful photo. I made it black and white, and then I really liked it, and I decided to paint it that way. So yeah, I definitely use these tools quite freely, actually. So yeah. Oh, cool, Dala, you saw on Saatchi. That's a good website. Oprah, I've never used a projector to sketch reference, but I worry it loses some authenticity. No, not at all. I use the projector to sketch this. I guess that's why you're bringing it up. And no, it feels good to me. It feels like it worked out the way I wanted it to. So I don't feel like it loses any authenticity. And I'll often trace. I'll put the paper on my monitor and trace like a lights table. Happy to hear. Ryan, hey Liron, love your latest work of art. This painting makes me feel like I'm in a winter wonderland. Then it made me wonder if you've ever traveled somewhere like this and experienced the snow. Yes, I have actually. So let me think for a second. I think when I visited the US, it wasn't snowing. And none of the times I visited. I got to see snow in Peru. It was one of the more fun occasions. We did a trek in a place called Ausangate, I think it's what it's called. Really high mountains. At some point, you get to glaciers. It was wonderful. It wasn't really a river in snow, but it was snow and ice. And then I don't remember if when I was in Prague, it snowed. But I do know for sure when I was in Ukraine, it snowed. I was in Ukraine back in, I think it was 2018. Took a bunch of photos there in Kiev that I later painted as well. And it snowed. It snowed. We threw snowballs at each other. I remember that. So yeah. So I did experience the snow. Unfortunately, here you don't experience it because there's no snow, only up north, and I don't get there much. So yeah, I would like to have more snow in my daily life, but I know it also complicates things, and it's not as fun to drive in snow, and it's a big logistical mess. So yeah, I'm not like, I like winter when I'm inside and it's raining outside. I don't like winter as much when you have to pack more layers, when you have to take more stuff with you. That I don't like as much. So yeah. But yeah, it's a great question. So I did get to experience some snow. Nancy, did you auction that other giant painting? Nope. Actually, I still have it here. I don't know what I'll do with it. It's a good question. I don't want to auction it. I don't know. I'll try maybe and see if anyone is interested in the future. But I honestly just moved on with my life. But it's here. It's going to find its place one day, I'm sure. So yeah. I don't know. I have I have a lot of thoughts about what to do with the paintings that feel very... Some paintings I don't want to get rid of. It's very hard for me to sell. Ponte Vecchio is a good example of that. Divination. Maybe you talked about Divination, by the way. I'm not sure. But yeah, Divination is a big one too. I don't want to sell that one either. So I'll have to figure out what I want to do with them. You know, it's a good question. Because if you have a painting you don't want to part with, that's how you know it's a really good one. That is how you know. Because a painting that you're very happy to part with, I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. I'm sure most paintings that are sold are paintings the artist is happy to part with. But to me, that's like, it's too common, you know? What fascinates me is painting something that I don't want to sell. Because if you don't want to sell it, it means it's priceless. Basically means you can ask whatever price you want for it. Just wait for someone to buy it for that price or not at all. So it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Ryan, by the way, I'm painting a prototype right now of a magnolia tree from the Publix grocery store. Okay, I wasn't familiar with it. Parking lot. And I'm using some of the techniques from your painting, white flowers, shadows. Cool, cool. So yeah, so you're giving them all kinds of colors, right? All kind of nuanced grays and colorful versions of gray, I guess. That's really cool. Laura, your paintings have grown so much this year, Liron. Each new piece becomes my favorite. It will be interesting to compare your favorite of 2024 to those you picked for 2023. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's very hard for me to sometimes know what changed exactly. I think my taste has improved. My ability to discern and tell the different nuances has improved. The thing I struggled with a lot in the past was, so imagine you have a value scale from 0 to 10. Let's say 0 is white, 10 is black. I had a really hard time telling everything from 7 to 10. That nuance in the darks from 7 to 9, let's say 7, 8, 9, those were really difficult for me. For example, like the difference between, it's actually a good example. The frame, my mouse scroller is going crazy. The color of what you see here, the frame of my photo viewing app, whatever it is, the Windows preview, and my shirt here. So the shirt is more like a 9 out of 10 darkness, and this is more like a 8 out of 10, right? You can tell that this here is lighter. That would be very difficult for me, and now I'm much better at noticing the nuances and not painting everything that's dark as just clear, pure black. So this, for example, this isn't a 10 out of 10 dark. That's the thing. That's one thing that improved a lot, my ability to see these things. And I think my care, the care I take with every painting that means something, has changed. I think I'm looking to create, I'm more interested in creating more meaningful works rather than just painting a scene or practicing a skill. And that leads to works where I devote a lot of attention and time and focus to. That's actually in big part what is responsible for the results. But thank you so much, really appreciate it. And yeah, it would be interesting to do this, make this comparison. Fuse Blower, for comic book stories, you could use works that are now in public domain and modify it. For example, the work of H.P. Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, and it's a brilliant idea, and I have actually thought of doing something similar, or looking at the classics and things that you can use and kind of stretch to fit your own vision. I need to feel it, and if I don't feel the story, it's very difficult to develop it and to make it into something meaningful, you know? Now, you are correct in that if I do want to just turn it into one-to-one, it could work. Just take a story that I really like and visualize it, turn it into a visual novel. That could work. But I feel like I need to have a really strong connection to the story. It's almost like drawing your own pencil lines. You just have a stronger connection to them. You may get a less accurate result, but you'll have a much stronger connection to them. I feel like it's the same for me. And then it's much easier to paint over. But yeah, and I know about the Gutenberg project. Thank you. You know what? I will look into that, you know. The Gutenberg project. I'll take a look later. Maybe I'll find something that interests me and I can just kind of change it up a bit. But yeah, I don't know why I've been struggling with that a lot. Jacqueline, lately my best paintings are done in my sketchbook. People want to buy them, but they're on the back of another painting. I did make prints and sold a few. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Now, if they pay well enough, I mean, it's okay. They get a bonus painting on the other side. I don't have anything against it. I have sold in the past paintings that had a different painting on the back of them, or maybe a quick sketch or scribble. I'll let them know when they make the purchase. There's something on the back there. Maybe I'll get, if it's okay with you, I'll surprise you once you get it. Or if they will ask to see it, I'll show it to them. But yeah, for sure. That's funny. I wouldn't mind selling something like that. What bums me more is having to rip it off the sketchbook. But yeah. I wonder if painting in my sketchbook frees me a bit to be more creative. Yeah, it for sure does. And I think one big shift for me has been just being free always when painting. So it doesn't really matter if I paint this huge a piece or something very small and detailed or something in the middle. I'm always like fully engaged, fully free, unless it's something I really dislike. And that's the problem with painting something that doesn't interest you or you don't like. Hey, January, how are you doing? Hope everything is well with you. Nancy, are you familiar with the artist Bev Doolittle? This painting of yours reminds me of her. Reminded me of her. Bev Doolittle. I love this name. Oh, yeah, it does have a bit of a resemblance to the way she paints snow. That's really interesting. Yeah, that's cool. I was not familiar with her at all, but now I am. I'll look into it more later. Prime, thank you so much for answering questions. This painting in particular feels very little gorgeous. Thank you. I'm looking for hidden horses. Yeah, here I don't have any, but She seemed to have them. It's funny. Kate, come to Ukraine again at winter and you'll have enough snow. Trust me. Yeah, it was crazy when we were there. Everything was snowy. I absolutely love snow. I love it. Hopefully I can maybe visit again in the future. Stephanie, good morning, Liron. Absolutely beautiful painting. I love winter scenes. They're my favorite to paint. Cool. Jacqueline, I was thinking of doing some political pieces. That's sort of hidden meaning, but haven't started yet. It's interesting to think about how to convey what I want. Yeah, and to do it in a really interesting and nuanced way. That could be interesting for sure. If you have some kind of a message or a story you want to tell, that's actually a good way of doing it. It's so difficult for me to think of stuff like that. So yeah, I think it connects to stories, thinking of a story. It just it seems not to be the way I'm wired. I don't know why I'm like that. But yeah, I would like to go beyond just painting what I see. And I think in some ways I have, but I think there's more to go to. By the way, I really like this section in particular. I don't know why this rock. Wait, this one, these three rocks. But again, it's going to look much better here. No, not here. That's the scan still. There we go. The photo. Ryan, yeah, I'll send you a quick narrated clip on Insta later if I think of it. Cool. Please do. And I know I missed some messages, so my apologies. I like how the magnolias came out, but now I'm afraid of ruining it with the background like I usually do. You can do a test on a separate piece of paper. Repaint the magnolias real quick, very abstract, and see what works with them. That's what I like to do sometimes. I'll do a separate test to decide, Right, so now I have analysis paralysis, and I've just been staring at the painting for like 24 hours, not doing anything. Yeah, I get it. I have the same with writing again. Cubs win. I hope you're doing well. My friend drinking my coffee with one of my favorites, Liron. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Yeah, really appreciate it. I have a hard out in about 10 minutes because we go to a wedding today. So yeah. So I'll kind of answer some more questions and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see if I have another interesting scene to share with you. Just the pesto for those who missed it, because I talked about it a lot in this one. I have done a stream on it, so I won't talk too much about it. But basically, it was the scene. And from a technical standpoint, yeah, black and white. So this was the florals I was talking about. Black and white is removes a lot of the pressure for sure. But let's go to an earlier stage. I like this one. Yes, a wedding. Ryan, I have some ideas for I won't say them on here though. Yeah, that's what's tough. I think no matter what you're gonna do, everyone will hate you. So some artists here do weddings. They paint the scene in real time. Oh, Nancy, yeah, I will talk about that auction in a second. That, by the way, Jacqueline, is so true. Yes, I don't know how people do that. I've seen some artists that do that. What artist was it that I think I follow on Instagram? It's amazing. I have no idea how they do it so well. Paint the scene live. It looks super real and crazy. It really is crazy. This is, I'm going to share Chrome tab. So this is basically the auction. You can find some of my pieces here, like this one. And a few others, this one. And if I'll, in this one too. It's very important. Now, if I, let me just, oh, that's a good one. I haven't seen this painting. 1 second. I'll just filter my own paintings. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so just my paintings. I currently have 4. This one right now has an offer for 600 USDs. We'll see how it goes. From my understanding, there is interest, even though there aren't bids yet on these 3, which is fine. The auction is gonna go live this Saturday, and then most of the action happens there. But from what I've heard, there is interest, in the assumption, I don't know if it's true or not, is that all of them will sell. We'll see. We'll see about that. I think it will be interesting to see after the fact and kind of share with you how it went. But yeah. Can you talk about painting block, like writer's block? Yeah, that's rough, because if you look at a picture that you thought you want to paint, but then you just don't want to paint it, it sucks, you know? Like, what can I say? Sometimes you just won't be in the mood. There isn't really a solution that is just, you know, use that and it will break the painting block, you know? I can have that for different types of art making. Maybe for a sketch, if I feel like doing a sketch and then I lose it and I don't feel like doing any sketches. I think to some extent, whatever you resist does persist. So it's almost like you can let it just flow down the river, that lack of desire or that lack of creativity or a painter's block. You can just let it continue flowing down the river, and if you allow it to, it will, and something new will happen and you will have motivation and inspiration to paint. But if you try to keep pushing it forcefully, it just won't work. So yeah, these are my barely 2 cents, I would say, about the topic. Sorry, I don't have a better answer. But yeah. So yeah, if it's clear, then you can go for it. For me, it's not that clear. I like your cactus painting. Did it sell? Yes, it has sold. Yes, it has sold in a previous auction. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Ryan, yes, I hear you. I did one already, although it was more of a portrait than political statement. I see. I thought of entering watercolor competition with what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that would be interesting. Now, I don't know if art competitions they see these things as problematic. I don't know if they want these types of artworks or not. You kind of have to work within the narrow box that they give you. But yeah, 2 more updates. Just one more thing I thought about, and then a silly thing. So I submitted a painting for, I have a scratch here, I didn't even see it. I submitted a painting for an art watercolor competition, exhibition. We'll keep you updated on that. I have a feeling it has a good shot of being accepted, and then I'll have to frame it real quick and ship it. I'll definitely let you know if this happens. The other update is just a dumb one. I had a crazy rash. It started on my legs, and then it just went through and attacked me with a vengeance, and now it's getting better, but it was a nightmare. I was really itchy for a couple of days, and now it's a little better today. I had this strange itch. Went to the doctor in the new place for the first time. Oh well. Yeah, art has been used for political statements in all of history. Yeah, I'm so bad at it though. I can think of some ideas, but it'll probably end up being very cliche. But yeah. Weird, my daughter had a rash on her legs too. Yeah, these things can be, you know, seasonal. It could be some kind of an insect bite. Could be a lot of things. They never know to tell you what it was. Almost never. Could be the new shampoo. Could be a bunch of stuff. So yeah. So I think we'll wrap it up at this point. It's been a fun update. Hopefully I'll have some fun updates next week too. We can talk a bit about the auction. I do think I may end up doing a painting stream. We'll see about that. Or maybe drawing. We'll figure it out. I'm not sure. Thank you so much, John. Have a wonderful weekend as well. Looking forward to the wedding today, and then hopefully a relaxed weekend. It's been busy. It's been busy time, so every moment that I can rest, I take it. Wait, did I miss this one? I need to start from the beginning since I was late. Oh yeah, no worries. Janzar, thank you so much for being here and for the kind words. Thank you so much, Nancy. Once again, Jacqueline, thank you so much for being here. Ryan, thank you. Laura, John, Stephanie, thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate it. This was a bit more of a chill, the chillest. Like I do a lot of chill streams, but this was more chill than the usual, I think. I don't know, I'm just tired from this week. So it'll be good to rest, honestly, this weekend. Looking forward to it. But I really appreciate you being here. And there will be a fun video for Saturday. It's a really interesting video. I've never done anything like it before. It's a novel idea. Thank you, Ryan. It's something cool. I think you'll enjoy it. It's very different. It's not really an art tutorial. It's not really, I don't know how, just a talking video I would consider it to be, but you'll like it. I think you'll like it. So keep an eye out. Thank you so much, Phyllis, for being here. Really appreciate it. Dala, thank you so much for the kind words and prayers. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend too. Thank you, Dala. Thank you, Phyllis. And yeah, have a good one. We'll talk soon. Till next time, take care.